So, when we rejoin the Ashen Hearts, you guys have just spent quite an eventful Sunday of March on a variety of things, including picking up your former clothing for the Equinical that's coming up in just a few days, and you signed and entered into a particularly complicated agreement with one Basil, or in his infernal name, he who carries the flame, and you have agreed to spring him free from his interdimensional and seemingly eternal prison. And to do so, you will probably have to face off with Cyric in one fashion or another. But before all of that comes to fruition, of course, you gain some very powerful items to help you on your path, both with this particular quest and any other endeavors that you might have. And with those items in hand, you guys set out to meet with Jean-Pierre, Jean-Jacques' cousin, and overall douchebag, if we're honest. But he also had a particular task for you, which was the quote-unquote elimination of a political rival, one Mr. Hope. Now, the means of that were left entirely to your imagination, and you got the impression that Jean-Pierre truly does not care about the fashion in which it's done, as long as it's done discreetly, and does not trace back to him. So, in one way or another, you have agreed to make sure that Mr. Atticus Hope disappears from public view in Postizia. Of course, for a sizable reward that has already been paid to you. But before anything else, and especially with Turnok's help, you made a list, and deciding that one thing that you should at least still tackle on this fine, cold Sunday was to go to the freelancers' headquarters and see a little bit of what's up. Now, there you met Mr. Silver, a rather relaxed halfling, who told you that there had actually been a call for your presence by the Honourable Elena Sordenbrand, or in fact by her servant, who had called with the rather surprising and difficult news that she had been wrapped up in something, quite literally, as there was mention of interdimensional spiders, which did not seem to please Turnok, who I think it's been established has a bit of arachnophobia. But nevertheless, with the sun set on a cold and snowy Postizia, you guys set out again from the freelancers' headquarters to go to the Weavewill's asylum and discover what may be going on there. So, we rejoin the Ashen Hearts as they are walking through the streets of Postizia. In spite of the late hour and the cold, there's still plenty of people afoot, late night deliveries happening, some shops just closing up, taverns having just opened up and entertaining many visitors. But you pass by all of them, the kind of icy, snowy surface on the street crunching beneath your feet, and you begin to make your way in the general direction of where you understand the Weavewill's asylum to be. Now, on the way there, you do have to ask a few people a couple times, especially as you get closer into the general area where it should be, but eventually you do manage to make your way to the Weavewill's asylum. And you begin to go down the street, quite a wide thoroughfare, on which there are a couple of taller houses, old-looking, definitely old-fashioned architecture, and seemingly once upon a time probably the place where some wealthy merchants used to live, but now you see that each house is home to various apartments, and is pretty overcrowded, and this seems to be quite a poor part of the city nowadays. Now, as you make your way through, you already notice that up ahead there are a couple of carts stacked in the road, blocking everyone from passing by, and a couple of these very darkly dressed. I mean, you can barely see them except for the color of their skins peeking out from under dark clothes. You see some black hats these new police force type people that have been taken to the streets after a commission from the assembly decided to try out this new way of keeping the peace. Now you see two of these black hats kind of lounging, both of them average height, and I mean, probably human or half elves or maybe half orc. You can't really tell. There's a sheen of some skin from one of them that seems pale enough to probably be a human or a half elf, and they're just kind of lounging at the only sort of place where you could easily pass through the carts. And you get the impression that no one's being led through. So how do you guys want to approach this? You're muted, Nicola.
Every time. I think it was mentioned also when we were in the headquarters, but we've got like badges or of sorts that show our.
You have your official freelancer paperwork. So essentially, each of each of the core freelancers actually. So you, I think
I became one.
You became one, but you have that authority in their presence. So you weren't issued, I think, your own one, were you?
I thought that after we defeated Overseer Pirata, it was made into a full membership. Or did I
don't believe that's
misremembering?
The case, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'll have to check my notes, but regardless, you're all together, so one of you definitely has that. So what do you do as you see them kind of standing there, cold and frustrated, probably being here late at night?
Well, thinking through that, I'll kind of look at Barnack and I'll be like, glorious leader, shall I approach or shall you?
Let's do it together. Probably the best idea. All of us together.
Probably. All right. So I'll move towards
You do the talking, Jean-Jacques.
Wise of you, my fearless leader. I kind of just like smile at him using a different,
Sure.
I'll make this a game. So I approach the gentleman and I say, "Howdy, y'all."
Like they kind of look at each other for a moment, and then the one that stands closer to you with the bit of pale skin showing, now you can see that probably human. And he kind of looks at the other one. The other one just kind of gestures to him like, "You have to deal with this now," and then puts his hands back around what seems to be a vaguely warm cup of something. And the other one just kind of gets up, pushes himself up. Like, all right, folks, you can't go through here. It's all quarantined. Very dangerous situation. You don't want to go that way. Everyone's been evacuated. So please just turn around and go back home. Whatever business you have, you can do tomorrow.
Well, I appreciate the information. It's good to know that you fine folks have done what is needed for the city and its denizens. We, however, are here on official business. We are actually a part of the freelancers on contract for one Elena Sordenbrand and have been summoned to assist with the situation. And our leader here will provide the necessary paperwork. I point to Barnack to give them the documents,
I show them the contract and also just take out the official badge.
He briefly goes to reach for it to take it and inspect it better, because of course it's dark and he's human. He doesn't have dark vision, so
I cast dancing lights.
He kind of, he takes it and he tries to squint at it for a moment. You cast dancing lights and he just kind of looks at you and just the surprised look of respect, just like, "Oh, thanks." And he goes to read it, or at least he pretends to read it. You're not sure, but he looks at it, and you see his hand go over the official seal, which is like this a very thick, metallic part that's been kind of stamped on, and he looks it over for a second. He looks over at the other one, and you see that the other one now gets up and actually is a half orc, and he kind of steps forward and takes over the paper from the first one. And looks you guys up and down again. "We didn't get no word of no freelancers going in here. I think I'm going to have to run this up the chain before I let you in." And he hands it back.
I kind of look at the cup that he was holding. I'd be like, "Oh, I understand the need for proper procedures to be followed, but I'd hate it if you lost the opportunity to warm yourselves on this cold night. I assure you, we've got nothing but the best intentions. We've heard that there's a a threat, and it would be our honor to assist
Okay.
both you and the city.
All right. So
Try to
whoever
persuade
wishes
him.
to roll an insight check on the half orc, as you know he's kind of lit sideways from the dancing lights. But you definitely already, regardless of insight check, you notice that he has his expression turned grumpy from approaching and reading the letter, so or reading the contract.
Yeah, 16 for me.
16.
Natural one.
Okay. Anyone else rolling or? All right.
I'll keep quiet. I don't want to mess up.
All right. So I'll say with a 16, you you read his expression and his general attitude as particularly unfriendly to the fact that you are freelancers. And you might recall from reading in the newspaper or from some rumors around town that these black hats especially have had their efficiency questioned recently. And one of the people or groups that have been suggested as being more effective are freelancers.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's a kind of, you get the impression that if you don't play this right, he's going to make this take a long time.
Yeah, so thinking back to that, and I just say, and as I mentioned, I think that you already done a fine job, and any and all success here would definitely be attributed to yourselves. I think we are just merely here to follow up with our contractor. So I think that anybody looking at this situation would immediately know it was you two fine gentlemen that took control of the situation and made it right.
Okay. So before I ask you to roll persuasion, does anyone want to add anything to that? Just wondering. Does anyone stand in the back and think like, I want to support Jean-Jacques in some way?
And as a leader of this group of freelancers, I 100% agree that we would not be taking any actual credit for whatever good deeds happen here tonight.
Okay.
And this is from an official freelancer employee.
In this case, I would like you both individually to roll persuasion then.
Darn it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'll have Barnek say it first.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's not that bad, but just a moment. Barnek is persuasive today. Persuasion, yeah, 0, so 17.
17. Wow.
27.
Whew. Okay. So he kind of stops for a second and seems taken aback as he looks very, very scrutinizingly at the both of you. And he doesn't find any fault. So he kind of looks taken aback. He looks at his associate. Probably he's the sergeant and the other one's just a lineman. But he turns back to you and he goes, what are you talking about? Freelancers who don't take credit? Did I wake up in a different parallel world?
I just give like a...
Whatever. And he, he had already handed the contract back, but he steps aside, he nods to his associate. All right, let them through.
Thank you,
remember,
kindly.
huh? Black hats are in charge. You do what we tell
Black
you.
hats are in charge. We,
Oh, of course.
as you saw now in our contract, we do not care about rewards or glory here. We're just here to help our contractor. Black hats have done everything else.
You just get the strangest stares from the both of them as they just kind of like look at you as if you've just said that the sky is green and that it rains apples all the time. Like that's the impression that they have. But you do hear, and like the human just kind of goes to move aside some of the some of the wooden crates that they use to block the single passageway that they have allowed through, and then steps aside and kind of waves you forward. Now that you go through, you notice that on the other side, it is much more deserted. Where previously, as you came down the street, you could hear voices inside the houses around you, like shutters were being opened or closed. Generally, people were home and candles were lit. Here, everything is dark. Everything has been completely evacuated by probably a good full block around the Weaver's asylum, which can't have been a mean feat. You also see signs of struggle as you're kind of walking forward. The snow is a bit thicker here, of course, because no one's been walking through it, but you do notice a very distinct path. And as you're moving forward, you come to the Weaver's asylum. Now, first and foremost, you see this wall that stretches left and right with a single metal gate in the center. And beyond that, there's a very brief, sort of like miniature courtyard before you get to the actual front doors. Now, the actual building itself is quite a large, probably formerly a manor of some kind, or a barracks maybe, you're not sure, but it definitely has that spacious sort of boarding house feel to it. Now, as you look left and right on that street, you know it's actually to your left, that is where the path in the snow also goes, and you see that there's been set up a small tent, and there are several more black hats that are currently discussing a few things, and sitting a bit away is a single man just currently like leaning over a crate and writing seemingly a string of letters of some kind. So yeah, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to just charge right in? Do you want to speak to anyone? What do you choose to do here?
This man, how is he dressed? Like, what is his appearance? He seems like just a random employee of the place, or he might be a bit of in better
He
standing.
definitely has some pomp about him. He has some heavier silks and well, not silks rather, but like heavier furs and just some finery around him that it kind of resembles the cloaks that you guys have bought to wear against the winter cold. And he's currently wrapped in something of the same. And also the fact that he's writing and quite quickly suggests that he's quite, proficient in the matter, which is definitely not true for many denizens of Postizia.
I turn towards the rest and I say, I suggest we go speak to that gentleman. I think that might be, perchance, the son of the Lady Sordenbrand.
Well, whatever you say, Jean-Jacques, I don't know where we are.
I mean, this is official business, Barnack, so I'm looking to you as our
Oh no,
leader.
I'll be the official freelancer when we need to, but I have no idea who to talk to.
It just goes like, okay, I'll let up a little bit. Barnack is in efficiency mode, so.
Fair enough.
I have a question though.
Sure.
There was talk about spiders, but
Yeah.
no one has actually said. They mentioned quarantine. Can you put like a quarantine around spider nest or something?
Yeah.
Well, knowing the general processes in the Republic, would this be like a standard practice where if there's a magical accident or incident of some kind that area gets quarantined until it's dealt with? That's sort of like what I'm
Definitely.
thinking.
There's an element of, this needs special assistance. So the foot soldiers, whether that be soldiers from a lord or city watch, or in this case the black hats, they just clear out people in the immediate vicinity to avoid the danger, and then they just set up a cordon and make sure that nothing that they can stop gets through.
I'll relay that information to the group.
Okay, then yeah, let's go talk to someone who's in charge and get more information, and they'll probably be happy to just let us go in and deal with this, risking our lives, not theirs.
That's what I'm hoping. All right, well, let's see what the person over there has to say.
Before you proceed, so as you go to approach, right, I assume that inevitably your eyes are kind of drawn towards the building, you're walking alongside a wall that's about as high as you are, but the building still goes higher, and you can still look at it. Barnack and Tani, could you please roll perception?
Perception.
Yes.
Perception.
Oh, by the way, before we proceed, Nicola, I gave you access to Tarnok's sheet as well, just so.
Already opened it, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, what did you guys roll?
Perception 24.
A natural 1, but that makes it 4 in total.
Okay. Okay, so Barnack, as you're walking, you kind of veer away from the group a little bit to account for your size and get a better look because you think you saw something, and for a second, you think that you can see like a little bit of snow be pushed off the roof because of some disturbance inside, and with your keen eyesight and it's just moonlight right now. It's quite pale and it's not really easy to see, but you see just a glittering of several eyes passing by one of the windows, and they are about tennis ball sized, at least.
Tennis ball sized.
Nope. Nope.
Like this.
Yep, one eye.
10 of them.
Nope.
Oh, several. You
Nope.
just see a glint, like kind of,
Several.
like the glint of something passing by and then moving on.
Oh boy, oh boy,
Nope, nope.
oh boy. Okay. I'll run back to the group and I'm like,
Yakers, dude.
just so you know, there might be some multi-eyed people looking through us, looking at us from the windows, the roof. Those might be spiders as well. Their eyes are this big. This big.
Yeah, surely you didn't see Rad. That can't be that big.
This big, Jean-Jacques.
Are you
Your depth
sure?
perception's off.
I'm 100% sure that they're either this big, or bigger.
No. Jean-Jacques, you can clearly see it's not that he doesn't believe you. He just doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah. So we got spiders, big ones, bigger than I anticipated, but we at least know that they really are there. We can take them. If push comes to shove, we can take them. I hope.
So with with that unsettling revelation in the back of your heads, you arrive at this makeshift tent. It's kind of set up to at least keep out some of the cold wind that's been blowing through the street here. But even so, you can see that in some places, there's just been a little frost cover already been starting on like the table. It seems that they set this up pretty early in the day, maybe even yesterday. You actually are not completely sure when the request was made, but they look pretty well settled in here. In any case, you were approaching, I believe, the man who's sitting alone.
The one that was writing the letters, yeah.
Right, so yeah, he's sitting on a crate of its own as well, and it seems that these are very simple, probably grabbed from a nearby house or alleyway, just stacked there for easy for ease and convenience. So as you approach, you notice briefly that there's some attention from the 3 black hats or so that are currently discussing some business. But as soon as they see that you're going for the other man, they just give you a look and then turn away again. The man himself is currently still kind of scribbling away and doesn't seem to notice your presence immediately.
Yeah, so I kind of just like approach, stand before him and say, "Good evening, sir."
Oh, and he immediately, pushes himself up to the up from the crate to stand, and you see now, like the coat falls around him. He's definitely kind of scrawny underneath, tall, very tall but scrawny, and very very simple brown hair, very much just a human. Let's say you don't see any other blood of any other races in there, but he looks at you guys, kind of like frowning, and he says, "Are you who I sent for? Are you here for the lady?"
Jean-Jacques says, "Yeah, we are the freelancers. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir. My name is Jean-Jacques Dupois," and I put my hand out like this, then I slowly turn it a bit faster, but enough so that it's very clear what I've done.
He just kind of looks at you, and like the moment you turn your hand, he just grabs it and pushes it down. Like he is not taking this at all, and he just shakes it really curtly, quickly, and he looks at each of you and says, "Well, that took you long enough. It's been 2 days. I needed assistance immediately. I thought the freelancers were professionals." I mean,
Our
I'm sorry,
apologies.
I do not mean to antagonize, but you understand
no.
that this is a life-threatening
Understandable.
situation.
Understandable.
Of course.
The flow of information is sometimes the worst part of a mission.
Well, I was told
That's
that you
it.
were some of the best, so I
Well,
hope that you can get
we
her out
are,
of here.
but the information didn't get to us as quickly
We
as...
hope that we can show you this tonight.
Okay, good. He kind of looks over his shoulder for a second. Yes. And he reaches behind the crate that he was sitting on. You see him kind of struggle. He has to go with the other hand, and he just lumps this sack onto the chest, and you hear immediately the clink of coin. This will be your payment. It will be waiting right outside here. Inside is the mistress, Lady Elena, and I expect to see her alive and well as soon as you are able. I don't know if you require anything else from me. I have not been inside, and I don't know much. So,
Well,
Has anyone been inside?
no.
That's still...
No, we
Alive.
have. Well, there was one of the. He gestures over to the black hats. One of them went inside, but the only thing that we got out of him was that it's very dangerous, and that he did not get further than the lobby before encountering one of these creatures. They seem to be able to disappear or appear out of nowhere. So. That is what you are facing, but I expect you are professionals, so that
Yes.
won't be too much, will it?
Indeed, but if you don't mind, just a question about before the spiders appeared. Were you inside with the mistress when this happened, or how did the events unfold? If you know, like when did the beasts appear? Did anything precede this? Was there an event or something that, in your eyes, could have been the moment when something happened?
Well, yes, in a way, also, but maybe not really. 2 weeks ago, roughly 10 days. And he kind of counts in his head for a moment. Around that time, 4 of the unsold inside woke up unexpectedly, and of course, Honourable Sordenbrand is the head of the Commission for the Unsold. She has advocated for their treatment and for research into their condition for many years, even though the Republic at large seems more eager to forget than anything else. So of course when this happened, it was an incredible breakthrough, and we came immediately to make sure that we could study the cause. So I have been assisting her in this matter for the past 9 days. Until 2 days ago, suddenly, this happened. As far as I can tell, these creatures simply appeared out of nowhere. As also this black hat told us, they seem to have this power, but where they originate from in the first place, I mean, they are not native to this house. It's been in operation for many years, and there's been no report of any major spiders that are paralyzing and killing people slowly. So whatever happened, it must have happened inside, but I was not here when it occurred, and I only came back to find the Lady Sordenbrand already captured. I suspect that she was taken unawares. But this actually brings me to another matter, which I must make you aware of. And he kind of looks past you for a second, and you see now that he looks at another apartment like down the street, and there in the window you just see a single bit of light shining out. So like when you follow his eyes, you see that he's looking at that, and he lowers his voice, even though that's like, a good 200 feet away. He lowers his voice and he says, I fear that the Unusual Services Division has already caught wind of this, and I suspect they are considering sterilization, which would be the worst case scenario. So please go in there and find the lady, because not only does she deserve to be rescued, but the Republic needs her and her research and her gifts. So please bring her back swiftly and safely if you can, before they do anything unexpected.
Of course, we would not want that fate to befall the lady. Now, if I understand well, you're the lady's personal assistant of sorts, or
That's right.
adjutant, right? Are you privy to the information of her experiments, or the way she conducts them? And I mean only to ask because I'm interested. Was she planning on something big these 2 days ago? That, like, did she communicate to you that she would be doing something special, like communicating in a way with some of the unsold or performing a ritual of any kind?
No, nothing of the kind.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, in any case, but she is meticulous and careful, so it seems unlikely that it would be her actions that would lead to this. But I am not. I am trained to assist her. I am not trained in the arts of magic, so I cannot judge adequately as to this matter, but I fear it may not matter for much longer if we cannot get her out. I do not know how much longer she will survive, if she has survived this long.
Of course. Of course. I don't know, Core or Tani, do you have any questions, anything you'd like to ask before we proceed?
Not sure if it would be useful to ask, maybe if you know where she is inside this building. A direction to point us at.
I haven't got a clue. I know that her quarters were on the first floor,
Okay.
in the wing on the right, and he kind of points to it. So, like, when you're facing the building, it's just there's like a wing that kind of extends back towards the wall and towards the street, and he points like towards that side. That is where her belongings were stashed when she wasn't working, but she was extremely driven in this case, and I think she was making notes and observations for a good 20 out of 24 hours a day, if possible.
I have two questions. One, is there a room inside that we can use as our base of operations? Something that is easily defendable?
I mean, I don't have a floor plan, but any room, there are many small rooms that if they are not invaded by the spiders, then they should be safe. But these creatures can appear out of nowhere, and I do not know what other powers they may possess, so
true.
I cannot tell you that anything will be safe.
Yeah, that's true. They can also get anywhere. But the other one was, what is the biggest room that we have in the building? Do you know that?
I believe that would be, and he kind of like steps back a little bit and looks up at the building. I believe that would be right in the front, around the entrance, and right above it. Above it is the well, formerly I suppose it was called the headmaster's office, when it was a school, but now
Okay.
I do not rightly know his title. I believe he's a raven something. I don't know, but he is no longer here, the master of this facility. But those rooms will be the biggest.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And you said that another party might already be here. You pointed to that, well, interested party, and I point like with the eyes where to the other building where the Secret Service, he showed the Secret Service was.
Yes, I mean they are keeping an eye on the situation. I simply fear the worst. I do not trust these people, and well, frankly, neither does. And he kind of looks over his shoulder and comes a little closer to you guys, and he says, "Neither does Lady Sordenbrand. Honourable Sordenbrand has repeatedly argued against further funding for the commission, or for the commission that houses the Unusual Services Division, and I cannot help but believe that perhaps they are hoping that she does not emerge again. It would be a powerful voice silenced against them."
Okay. Well, thank you.
Good luck.
Anyone else have any questions, guys, or are we good to go?
I think this is as good as it's gonna
We're good to
get.
go. Yeah.
Can you help us pass through the door if the blackheads try to stop us?
He looks
They're
over
not
at
the
the
friendliest
Black Hats.
bunch.
I have the Black Hats under control. You need not worry.
Excellent. as we're preparing to leave, after hearing some information about the spiders and stuff, can I either try to rely on my own knowledge to glean more about the beasts, or maybe even communicate with my ring to see if I can kind of find out more information about what these beasts might be capable of, or what they actually are?
Make an Arcana check first and see if there's
Okay.
something in your repertoire.
12.
You've heard of many creatures that are able to disappear and appear at will. Some.
One second.
Yeah.
So, because this is the new. When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll the T20, and you must use the new roll. So I'll spend the sorcery point because this. Well, I guess this one didn't. Like, I don't know if it failed.
The thing is more that
it wouldn't be on this, right?
Yeah, I typically take these as more of an indication of your general knowledge.
Yeah, that's good. Never mind. Yep.
Yeah, but that's fine because as you kind of mull it over yourself, like I said, many creatures that are able to somehow phase or go invisible or blend in really well, even change the size that they have. So there are many options there, but obviously you can consult with the ring and see if Oberon has anything to remark.
I'll ask Oberon and give him a description and be like,
okay.
Does it sound familiar to you?
Okay. He you hear this kind of pondering. No, not here. You feel the sense of pondering on his part. And it's silent perhaps a bit longer than you would like. And he says, well, do you believe that there could be a connection to the drow?
Well, that is a good question. I have no reason to believe specifically, but anything is possible. The drow, well, I spent some time with one the other day, so it wouldn't be impossible, I would say.
Indeed. Well, it seems unlikely given the circumstances, but if it is, then they are likely very dangerous individuals that have either taken on the form of their spider god, or in some other fashion, such as the matrons, take on the shape of spiders entirely. I do not know if this is what you are facing, but if you are faced with such creatures, I would recommend that you run. These are not the types that you wish to engage with the experiences that you have now.
I see. Thank you for the advice, mon ami.
Try not to die.
I will do my best. Don't put you using your eyes again, eh?
Indeed. All right. So.
I say nothing of that to the party. I don't want them to think about Rider and Drow matriarchs. Or matrons. So I'll just I'll proceed with caution. And I'll just say, if while we're inside, if I tell you to run. Alright?
Are you not telling us something, Jean-Jacques?
No. We are working on very limited information. But, spiders come in many forms and can be many things. So, if I say run, just, fucking skedaddle out of there.
We know, and I'll turn to you, and I'll give you one of the weirdest, creepiest winks. Like I understand that you don't mean that. I'm like, we'll run.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
I mean it, Bart. Just I do. I mean it, guys. Just
okay. If we see spiders, then we run. Yeah, sounds logical.
But no. Fuck it. Let's just fucking go.
We're dead. We're so dead.
Let's just fuck it. Let's just fucking go.
I'll say Turnock probably intervenes with, do we have to go in? Just because he's really not excited about it? But
I give him a compassionate look and just say, yeah.
I just have a flash of us going in, seeing the spiders, Tani immediately running away, and Barnack immediately running towards the spiders.
But Barnack, you are a monster slayer ranger, correct? Or monster hunter?
Yes, monster slayer.
I would say that, why don't you make
though.
a nature check to see if you can deduce the nature of these creatures. Or at least get some inkling of what's going on, because I should have asked for that sooner.
Okay.
but I forgot.
I am a monster hunter, but not very naturous. I have a +0.
Naturous.
I'm guessing you
2.
don't have a better Arcana. 2? You rolled a 2.
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, no.
Well, actually, just a second. I do
You maybe have a class feature that helps?
Yeah, let me check. Since they are talking about spiders, let me just see. Beasts, aberrations. No. No.
Okay.
Yeah, beasts and aberrations. If those are beasts or aberrations, I would have a bit more to do, but no.
Okay.
Only checking them.
So, as
Or
you're
no,
as you're kind
intelligence
of
checks as well.
trying to rack your brain for information on giant spiders and anything of the sort, you just get stuck on this childhood tale that terrified you of a halfling who gets lost in the woods and has to fight some giant spiders, and it just always stuck with you as this horrifying story, and it kind of gets you stuck there because there are many varieties of giant spiders in the world that you know of even, and which ones these might be, you have no clue. The only thing that you probably with a 2 are thinking of is that you hope that it's not the ones that paralyze you and then slowly drain you over many weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barnek, would you like to scout out ahead unseen, perhaps?
Not really, no, but I will.
Well, I
I'll
mean,
be honest, Jean-Jacques, I really don't want to, because I've seen,
Yeah.
as I told you, their eyes are balls, like this big,
yeah.
but at
Yeah.
the same time, I will.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of
Yeah, I
short
know.
in power, so
Short on
if you
power.
don't want to, it won't be a terrible thing. But just give me a moment, and as I say that, like I take an action to expend my only 3 sorcery points, hoping that I won't need them to regain 1 second level spell slot. And I like to imagine that my new blood vial shines with a dark red light from underneath my cloak, and I regain my spell slot.
Most likely, yeah. How come you're so low on resources? Did you guys cast anything today?
Well, this has been the entirety of one day, and I remember casting a bunch of spells like.
Well, no, you remember you had a rest before you went to the contract thing and stuff. You had a full long rest in the evening. Full
rest, and then after that we went straight to
the contract, and then to your cousin, and now you're here. So
I remember I did 1 counter spell at level 4, which is why I don't
Appy.
have that.
That is correct.
But I should have all of the other things
back. Yeah, you
back.
should have everything else in place. So
okay,
then.
You
guys are updated, because
Okay.
this was a new day. Like last session, we started with a new day.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Oh.
Okay.
Does
So
that mean that Does that mean that I would have had time to like attune to my Eldritch Claw tattoo that I got last?
Yeah, you guys, because after you went to the Arcana Acquisitas, you also had several hours to kill before the appointment with Jean-Pierre, which I believe you guys spent at the Stormcrow, which is where the thing with Appy happened. But of course, you also had time to attune.
Yep. Yeah. Bruno was smart, and all of his things are back. So okay.
Yeah. All right. So
okay then.
With that sorted, then just so you don't have to expend resources that you still should have.
Yeah. Good point.
So I'm gonna move you guys quickly to the map so you can kind of see the layout of stuff. Let me make sure that everything is in order.
Do we guys need to be stealthier than usual, because these things can appear out of midair? So I don't know if being stealthy is the way to go.
Well, I don't think it would harm, especially if you go inside first.
All I know is I'm not taking my armor again. I learned my lesson last time.
Yeah, don't
never take that thing off.
Well, we don't want to attract a bunch of spiders at once, right? Maybe we should stealth around.
So, as you guys are discussing this in front of the gate, all of you, kind of, and in this, like, I imagine a semicircle.
Kevin, I don't know if you wanted us to see, but we can see the whole map.
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine. You do know what's inside, so.
Yeah. Okay.
You just see the layout. It's fine. But as you guys are kind of discussing in this semicircle, each of you, if each of your eyes is drawn to the front door, as you see there briefly, like this ghostly outline at the height of what probably is like core, like equal height with core, you see this glimmering set of eyes on both sides of a giant spider's body, completely translucent, almost white. And it's like several of those long legs standing out front, making no impact on the snow. It just seems to kind of be looking around for a second and then disappears inside again. And you stand there shivering in the cold, but perhaps shivering even more so because of that. So how would you like to proceed?
So Barnack scouting or not?
Yeah, I am. I'll go inside and I don't remember, Kevin, when I cast Pass Without Trace, all of them that are there at that moment get that. Mm-hmm. But if they leave and then come back, do they still get it again?
I think so, because they're still designated by the spell.
Okay,
it's just,
then
while they're outside of the range, they're not affected.
Right. Then I'll do Pass Without Trace first.
Okay.
And then leave.
And then I'll cast Invisibility on him as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
And I'll go inside.
All right.
I would like to go inside and check things out, see if I can spot any tracks, any. Yeah.
Well, please. Okay? That's where you guys are standing. Okay. Please roll stealth for Barnack. Jean-Jacques, are you making extra efforts not to be noticed by anything inside, or are you going to just remain there because you feel relatively comfortable outside?
I guess I would, but I don't see, I don't know what I would be able to do, really. But yeah, I'll try.
I mean, that's up to you, right? Like, I just noticed you moved a token.
I'll try.
Like, if you're going to be close. Okay, so go ahead and roll stealth as well. And don't forget the plus 10.
10.
Oh, so 26.
Okay.
Yeah. 32.
Okay. So as you're moving forward, Barnack, you gently push open the door that's like kind of left a tiny bit ajar as well. Just this old rusty wooden door, or rustic wooden door, that you just push open and you just hear it do that very slight, creepy, creaking sound, like.
Mm-hmm.
And you open it just far enough to make sure that you can fit through, which is a bit further than your ego is probably happy with, as your belly also has to, get through. But then you're inside, and looking around, everything in the entry hall, dark but normal. You're very happy to notice that your footsteps are not making any sound, also not leaving any trace on the ground, of course, because of your passing that trace. But you do notice that the next doors have been deliberately shut. And when you try them, they seem to be, blocked somehow. What is your passive perception again, Barnack?
My passive perception is 15.
Okay, so very, very quietly on the other door, on the other side of the door, you just hear this kind of very brief as something skitters across the ground, and then the sound is just gone.
And the door is not
The door is
moving.
still locked, or at least blocked.
Okay. Do I see anything else in the room of note?
In the entry hall, no. From what you can tell, the person that was sitting here, usually probably on duty for any potential visitors, left in a hurry. Their notes are still on the table, and what seems to be a kind of ledger for probably for people to sign in as they come and go. But
I would like to take that ledger.
Okay, you take the ledger, or do you want to read it?
No, I'll just take it. I'm invisible. Okay. I'll read it later when we're together.
All right. So you take the ledger. It's a little heftier than you would like. You know, it's kind of like you have to tuck it under one arm to really keep it with you.
Does
but
it fit into the haversack?
It would, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it there then.
All right. So make sure that you note down you have the Weave Wills Visitor's Ledger.
Done.
All right. And what do you do next? And also, before we continue, actually, outside, so we have Kor and Tani still standing by the gate with Turnok. Anything you guys want to get up to as you're waiting out there in the cold? You know, kind of sheltering, hoping maybe that you don't have to go inside, perhaps. But anything you guys want to do? Just checking.
I'll just make slow turns every once in a while to see if there's anything around us.
Okay.
Any spider around us.
So I'll make a perception check for that.
That would be 13.
Okay. Probably about 5 or 6 minutes after Barnack has disappeared, you look and you kind of sweep the area. Nothing. You notice that still the fire, the candle is burning in that one apartment that Elena's assistant was so afraid of or worried about. But then your eye falls on like the stone pillar that the gate is attached to, and you see a trio of these very small, maybe like this big, tiny spiders, completely translucent, just kind of skittering along the wall. And then as you watch them, there's this like brief whitish flash, and they disappear.
They don't skitter away, they just disappear.
They just disappear. They're mid-walk and they just whoop.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything for now.
Okay.
Because Turnok is not looking forward to this, so I'm not gonna make it worse.
Like, you know, looking up at the house the whole time, and every time he sees something that scares him, maybe like the glint of an eye or a leg or whatever, he's just like, fuck. Alright. We return to Barnack. What do you do? Oh, you're muted, I think. Yeah.
Can I try to push the door open?
Okay. Like, how hard do you try to push?
How do I feel that it's blocked physically, but like by something from the other side when I just try to push it? Like, do I feel like a soft, or is it like a more of a locked?
Make an investigation check, I would say.
Okay. Oh. Investigation 3, 11.
11, okay. You get the impression it's not locked. In fact, it doesn't have a lock. But it does, of course, have a normal mechanism, and you get the impression that it's just kind of stuck in there. Maybe there's something on the other side also that's blocking it a little bit. As you give it a gentle nudge, like you get this slight give, and then it's just like, poof, it hits a wall almost. And of course, you're not putting any force behind it, so nothing's moving. But if you did put some force behind it, you think you could move what's on the other side, but you don't know what it is.
Okay. Okay, and there's I didn't get it open enough to like even put something, rather throw something inside. No.
No. It's like, okay. Because it's, you know, it's quite a thick door, and it's just like it's open maybe about half of the way of the thickness of the door.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll go back to Jean-Jacques. He's the first one I see there, probably. Mm-hmm. I'll just whisper, "It's me."
All right.
Okay. Just so you know, it's me. I mean, there are spiders that are appearing out of nowhere, so I'm now appearing out of nowhere. But the door is locked inside.
All right.
I was there for about 5 minutes, and I know that there's another locked door inside.
I think I can try to unlock it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I look towards the others and be like,
I'll go tell them, and I'll just go down and tell all of them
okay.
the same thing.
I would say Tarnok is probably quite startled because there's no footprints.
Yeah.
There's nothing announces your presence when suddenly you speak, and he's just like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Tarnok! It's me, Barnak. There's a locked door. Yeah, a locked door.
Okay.
Tani understands me. So Jean-Jacques.
Jean-Jacques just kind of like waves them over, like, come on. Like, you guys are like a mile away.
You guys are probably getting some looks from the Black Hats at this point. They're just like lined up in a trio, and it's like one is a halfling, one is a dwarf, and one is like human sized, and they're just standing there, arms folded, just watching you. Like, what the fuck are those guys doing? And waiting. But you're waved over, so I'm guessing Tani, Corey go inside.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the gate creaks a little bit as well as you open it a little further, but you manage to get inside. Nothing happens. There's like gentle snowflakes falling down on your heads. There's a slight breeze. It's definitely cold. It's very, very crisp as well. But you have a very dark building ahead of you as you join.
Well, I go inside and I try to unlock the door.
All right.
With my thieves' tools. So I take my thieves' tools out, and they're like in a very fine leather pouch.
Okay. So
and I open them up, and I take my lockpicks out, and I get down. I'm like,
so this
trying
is the
to figure out the
situation that
mechanism.
occurs based on the information that Barnack had.
Correct.
Is that you get down on one knee, you're careful, you take your pouch out, you're doing things in the Jean-Jacques way, which is the right way, and you open the pouch, you lay it out, you go to like you check the tools a little bit, then you look at the door to see which one you'll need, and there's no lock.
Right.
Like
There's
rub my
no
eyes
lock.
for a little bit.
The door's not locked. It's blocked. I forgot the B.
What?
I hate you so much. I really do, Barnack. Like, you not.
It's not
All right.
locked, it's blocked.
I will try to look around, do the same. I repeat the process that Barnack could have told me all about.
Yep.
And I just check the door. I see what kind of resistance I'm getting. I'll see if it's like blocked on both sides or if there's any give at a particular area. Do I get a sense that it's a large object blocking the door, or if, I have normal human strength, right? So I'm not a superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, I think, at least apply enough pressure that if I can ascertain, I hope, whether or not it requires like a superhuman push, or is this more of a situation where something's just leaning against,
Okay. So make your investigation check, first and foremost.
13.
Okay. So with some time and effort and being especially cautious, you ascertain that the left part of the door it's like one of those doors where you can lock them in place so that it only opens with one. So that's happened in this case, and you would need to open the first one completely in order to be able to unlock the second one. So you start to kind of push and prod to see what kind of force is required, and initially you make no headway. It feels like it's really solid on the other side. There's like some give at first, and then it's just fully solid. But you dare a little more, and every time you don't hear anything, every time you don't hear a response, and you dare a little more again, and then at the last attempt you feel this kind of and you push it forward maybe like 2 centimeters, and you hear the sound of something sliding across the floor on the other side, and you see like the floor is all tiles, so that sound of like dragging a bag across tiles. It's kind of that sense. There's definitely something heavy on the other side that you've just kind of pushed aside a little bit.
Yeah, I got a feeling what that might be. So I just like look back towards Barnack and I whisper, yeah, not as blocked as you might have thought. So go ahead, push it further open and see what's inside.
Or why don't you push it further?
You're invisible for a reason.
Oh, you meant invisible. Okay, I'll touch. Yeah, I'll actually.
All right. So before you start pushing, I want to know where everyone roughly is. Like, are the rest of you in the entry hallway, or are you waiting outside while Barnack pushes this open.
I'm inside with both of
Okay.
them.
I'm in because I was about to push it.
Okay. I'll say Turnock is probably like waiting in the doorway.
Yeah.
And Cora, you are inside. All right. So yeah, Barnack, go ahead. Make an athletics check.
Yeah. Nothing above 10. That's fine. Athletics, you said. Yeah, 10 in total.
Okay. You find that this is actually exactly the amount of force that you wanted to apply, because once you do get it moving, it starts to move quite gradually. There's you get it open maybe a little further than you needed. You know, it's like maybe 45 degrees. But then suddenly it kind of gets stuck, and you notice that there's like a piece of cloth of some kind that's stuck under the door now, that it's kind of boop, boop, you know, gotten stuck on. And there's this slight thud as you do so, but thankfully muffled by your immediate presence and essentially your pass without trace spell, dampening such sound effects. So as you get a look into the next chamber, you immediately see to your left and across most of the tables that you spot here are a number of very thick white webs that have been spun, and you see that it kind of climbs across the walls and everywhere else as well.
Okay. May I go inside?
Absolutely. So
Can I see the webs from where I'm at?
I would say if you crane your neck a little bit, you get a glimpse.
I would have
of
just to see what's going on, and then
You know
secondly,
what?
would I know?
Actually, sorry, just to correct. So Barnack, as you're doing this, you all become aware of the webs, because like a part of the webbing that was stuck to the door that was now broken, kind of just falls into view like over Barnack's head. Thankfully, he is short enough that it doesn't hit him, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, okay. And would I be in general knowledgeable enough about arachnids, specifically spiders, to know that usually if you disturb their web, they will sense that, or that webs can sometimes have certain paralytic or other properties?
I would say that's quite specific knowledge. So you can make a nature check to see if you are aware of that.
Okay.
Because I would say that's not necessarily part of Jean-Jacques' natural.
Yeah,
repertoire.
21.
Okay. Yeah, with that, you know, maybe spiders have drawn some attention, especially because of the, like, let's say, literary parallels to certain figures in history. So yeah, you do know that a spider's web typically can, if it's disturbed, it can alert its owner, let's say.
So I'll just, as Barnack opened the door, I'll just say, hold for a moment, Barnack, and the rest of you. They might know that we're here since the web was disturbed. And also just try and not have the web touch your skin.
May I take out the little steel mirror that I have?
Sure. It's invisible.
Yeah. And I can't see it, right?
Nope.
I put it back inside. I'm holding on.
Like the one downside of the invisibility spell is that everything you hold is also invisible.
Yeah. I'm not going forward. What's wrong?
No, you can just be aware. I'm whispering this, but it's just hard to do the accent.
Yeah, no,
while
just do
whispering.
stage whispers.
Yeah.
You can go ahead. Just be aware that if you disturb the web, they might know where you are, and just be careful not to let the web touch your skin.
Oh. Okay. I think I remember that. And I turn around and I can now see the amount of web there is in this room.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I don't think we can walk any distance unless we want to disturb the web. Also, what is this in front of me?
It just seems to be some kind of old school artistry of some kind. So it's like part in the, like, it's kind of part perched in the wall, but its exact nature, you know, especially in the dark, even with dark vision, you just have a hard time determining, and it's not exactly. You can conclude pretty easily that it's not the most important element on the wall.
Well, from what I can see, there are a lot of webs on the right, and there are some on the left as well. So, guys, I don't see any spiders though. Still,
Continue looking.
yeah, I will, and I'll start slowly moving into the room to check the corners. I'll try to evade every web that I can, if I can.
Okay, I'm gonna say you can move through on the floor, through the areas that don't have like distinct webbing on the map, as if it was difficult terrain. But if you enter any area that, or if you want to essentially go through any of the side doors, then you will have to roll a dexterity saving throw to avoid it.
Okay.
Or I will say if you actively approach it, you can make an acrobatics check instead.
Okay. Can I? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand. Okay. I'll go back and I'll tell him I'll check the left side first.
Okay.
And I'll be back in a moment, guys. Just wait there.
So as Barnack is doing this, the rest of you are left behind, of course, in the entry hallway, kind of looking at each other uncomfortably. For a brief moment, there's this very strange sensation that you're not alone. And you look up and you see poking through the ceiling like a ghostly leg is a spider leg, but this part alone is as large as any of your arms. And it's just kind of poking through the wall, like jittering a little bit, like it's got something, and you see it moving, and then a second one appears, and it seems to be kind of moving around something, and then it just pulls back and disappears.
We all see that.
Yeah.
Can I tell if that was translucent too, or was it a normal?
Definitely the same color as what you saw.
And where the? Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Just was gonna say okay.
No, I was going to ask you. The webs are normal color.
Well, they seem to be very pale white, but they almost have a glow to them themselves. Like they definitely have an otherworldly quality to them.
Okay.
So, I'm just going to quickly ask, just in case you have anything in mind, but, between Turnock, Jean-Jacques, Cor, and Tani, is there anything you guys want to do or prepare for?
Well,
Well, now might be a good time. I say as we saw now might be a good time to tell you that I saw a trio of little spiders outside, and they disappeared after a flash. Like they didn't skitter away; they disappeared, and they were translucent just as this one. Maybe, do you think my punches would? Well, I don't have the gloves anymore. Maybe I should take out my sword? And I take out my sword. My short sword.
Okay.
Like, softly.
Yeah, I don't know how much we know about Tani's abilities.
Yeah, I think Tani is the one who knows the nature of her training. So, indeed, if that is the choice that Tani wishes to make right now, then that is the way. Okay. So, relatively prepared. I will say Turnock definitely has got his sort of sharpness out. The one comfort that he has in this situation is just this beautiful sword that he has retrieved from Basil. So Barnack, you go left.
Yeah, there's a
There's a very thick web in the way. How do you approach that?
I would like to, get over it.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your dexterity, or your acrobatics, or your dexterity saving throw.
Can I
I will stealthily move to here, looking to not disturb any webs, and just being very low to the ground. And
you can do that.
19 in total.
Okay.
12 plus 7.
Okay. yeah, you kind of start stepping through, and a few times, you do have to gently push some of the web away. But your experience with natural things, you have a touch for this. So even though at one point it kind of sticks to your fingers in a very very annoying way, you make sure that you don't panic, and you keep your head on your shoulders, and you just kind of place it in another space, and you manage to get it scraped off of your fingers without drawing any tension or like disturbing the web further. So you manage to make it to the door, and you open it, and like as you open it very carefully, just the tiniest bit, you feel this slight resistance as well, but it's different than what you felt previously. And as you try to open it just a tiny bit, you see that it's just covered with web on the other side as well. Actually a little more here than you had previously seen. Jean-Jacques, by the way, as you've entered the room now, and I will say, since I was expecting someone to kind of take a look around the room once you were inside, but both of you probably noticed at this point that behind the door there is indeed a body that had been incurred when this strange event happened. But most disturbing of all is that it seems to be completely desiccated. It is completely void of any fluids or blood of any sort within it, and you follow kind of where it fell, and you look up and you see hanging, because this is quite a high ceiling, hanging above the door is one cocoon that is broken open, out of which this body seems to have fallen, and another cocoon which is still wrapped up, smaller, but it's currently still like leaking this very slight bit of fluid, and like right as you look and you become aware of it, you hear this like drip of as it just slowly drips onto the ground and is draining whatever is inside.
Okay. Right.
So
I don't do anything at the moment, but I take note of it.
okay. So how do you wish to proceed, Ashen Hearts?
This area here is off limits. I see. There's a thick layer of web behind this.
Can we cut through it? Should we?
Oh, I think I can push the door open, but Jean-Jacques said that if we disturb the web too much, something bad might happen.
That
Well, we've
giant
already
thing.
done it. I can
Already
try
done it?
something that will... Well, yeah, when you open this door, we already disturbed the weapon. But I can try something. I don't know if it's a smart idea, but I can try and burn off as much of the web as I can.
Well, that would help us at least here, in this room. Perhaps finding some really nice spots in this room and waiting for the worst while you burn the webs away.
As you guys are discussing this, those of you left behind in the entry hallway, so Tani, you kind of with one ear, and Cor and Turnock for sure, become aware of this strange clicking sound of large mandibles. And both of you have this moment of looking at each other, and then slowly your eyes just drift upwards as you see hanging upside down and some more webbing on the ceiling. Thankfully or not thankfully, this room is not quite as tall as what is beyond. So maybe 2 feet over your heads hangs an enormous, translucent white spider that has just appeared. Its mandibles just opening up over the two of you, like dripping slightly with this spider venom of some kind. And it immediately like jumps into action trying to attack. So I'm going to need everyone to roll initiative here.
Oh, yowza.
Oh, shit.
Okay, first myself.
Oh, the size
Okay.
compared to our tokens. Okay.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
And it
Oh,
being
baby.
white makes it much worse.
Yep.
Like translucent.
So there you go. That is our
See?
spider.
Told you. Tennis balls.
So, where's our combat music?
Should we roll on
Yes,
roll 20?
please do.
Yeah.
Well, I already rolled, so
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
mean-
gonna input
Yeah, that's fine.
once I'm done. Just because might get lower or higher, but since I already rolled. Actually, that one's the same. Very good. Saturnac was actually 13.
I clicked it there, but I mean for you to add for it to add me, but I did roll with my dice already.
And that's fine. You can also change it to what you rolled.
You can change the number, yeah. If you just
I
click
can
on the
change
number,
it.
you can change
Okay,
it, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. All right. Cool. So, is everyone on here? I have Turnok, Jean-Jacques, Barnack, Core, and Tani are missing from the Turnok.
I think I clicked on initiative
clicked
without
on-
clicking on my token.
Ah,
Yes.
same. Let me click
Did I do that again?
Yes. Feel free to do it again and use the original roll. So I just change it to your original roll.
What color of Dragonborn is Turnock again?
White.
Black?
Mine was
White.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cold damage, right?
15.
Okay.
My original.
You can just click on the 8 and make it 15. Like it will allow you to edit.
Oh, you can change it there.
Yeah.
Ah.
And, all right. Did you get it?
Wait, I can't. It doesn't let me change it.
Weird. I'll do it this time.
On the 8. Yeah.
All right, we got it. All right. So first up is our good ambusher, the spider
Oh.
overhead.
Never mind. I was trying on the chat. Change it there.
Right. So what happens is the spider just kind of immediately goes for a quick bite at the nearest target, and in this case that will be Core. So here we go.
Of course.
That is
the
a
giant
9 to hit,
spiders.
which I don't think hits. Correct?
No,
All right.
not even close.
So I don't know if you have your shield out, but you can
No,
definitely kind of block it and get out of the way before these like horrifying dark blue mandibles try to like snatch up part of your flesh for its own dinner.
Yeah. I don't have the shield, but still, yeah. I have my vicious maul out.
All right, Barnack, your turn. You hear a commotion behind you in the entry hall, but you don't actually see what is happening immediately. What do you choose to do?
I will move, just get on top of the table,
Okay.
and just as a precaution, because I have no idea what's happening there, just as a precaution, if something translucent or white appears, I'll shoot it.
Okay.
So I'm just readying my action to shoot at something if something appears.
Okay, and your eyes are like trained on the door, right, in case it comes into the
On the door and everywhere. Well, I'm just being aware of the room where
Okay.
we are now.
Yeah. I just mean you kind of have a focus area typically.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
otherwise you're like,
Yeah.
that would be a bit confusing. But okay, so ready to action attack against the first translucent thing that you see. Tani, what do you do? You're still in the doorway.
I'll say, the spider can see us, and I'll run towards the spider and try to. I don't know. I'm not thinking straight. I'm gonna slash with the short sword to see if I can do anything.
All right. Good luck. So as it appears and it takes or attempts to take a bite out of Core, you just rush in and try to take a swipe at it with your short sword, which I guess is more of a poke because it does piercing damage. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That would
it's like a
be
gladius.
+1 from the claw tattoo, 9.
Right. So with a 9, so what happens is actually you rush forward and you try to like jam it into its thick underbelly. That's kind of as it's attacking Core, it's doing that really uncomfortable vibration as it's like trying to stay ready in combat. You're trying to poke through, and you actually notice that like where you attack, it just kind of shimmers, and your blade goes through the flesh, but it does not connect. It hits air, as if it's not there. All right. Core. That brings us to your turn, I believe. Oh no! Sorry, Tani, you have
Two
9
attacks.
attacks. My apologies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Technically.
Oh, damn.
I'll try again.
Okay.
'Cause
All right. So you kind of push back and you go for another strike with the short sword.
as if that'll do any different, but
All right. So 23, I believe, total.
23.
Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. That would be plus 1, 10.
All right. So as you kind of readjust, you start to kind of get a sense of the almost rippling effect as the belly seems to solidify and then become ethereal again. And you wait for the moment when the ripple emerges where it becomes solid, and in that second you push it in and you feel it connect, and it's just flesh. You push your sword into it and you pull out, and there's just this horrible gash as this spider mucus and other viscera come pouring out of the wound and onto the ground. It stinks, but in a very unfamiliar way. It's a smell that doesn't belong on this plane to begin with. So, that's your second attack. You still have a bonus action. What would you like to do?
I'll say, okay, we can hurt it. Just because it's transparent doesn't mean. And I'll try to. I'll see if my hand connects to it as well. So I'll
Okay.
punch at it.
Alright. Go for a punch.
Natural 1, wow.
So
8.
As you
Until-
pull back
No, 9.
and you go for the regular strike, you actually, like, in your movement, you reach back a little too far, and your punch gets stuck in that webbing that had fallen through the doorway a little bit, and you just feel like, fuck, shit. And you managed to get your hand free again without like getting fully wrapped up in it, although you were about to be. But unfortunately, it just means that your punch doesn't quite connect with the spider's underbelly. Were you flurrying of blows or just the one attack?
No,
All
I'll leave it at that.
All right. So then we come to core. My apologies. What would you like to do?
I just want to double check because Turnok I think has higher dex. So do we do that or can we just?
Oh, yeah.
Normally we would,
Please.
but since he's not here, then core goes first by default.
Okay, let's see. I'll attack it, and yeah, and I don't have it selected. I'll use Divine Smite.
Okay. I mean, you can hit. You can see if he hits.
If it
first.
attacks,
Yeah.
if it hits, I mean, yeah.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so. Ooh, nice.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your.
Core
damage.
is back.
So in this case, actually, we are rolling max damage on the first one anyway. So we're gonna take that is going to be 12 plus 5.
17
Yeah, it should be 17.
plus another.
Plus 12.
I'd rolled like, what's the? Oh yeah, right. The vicious mod does extra
Oh.
damage on the crit, right?
Yeah.
That's what that is. Yeah. So it's gonna be 17 plus 4 makes for 21 plus the 3 plus 12, I guess. So plus 15 is 30.
6.
Yeah. Plus you wanted to. Did you say you wanted to divine smite?
Yeah, Divine Smite.
All right. Go for it to roll it, and then
36 without
well-
divine smiting. Of course.
This is not an undead, right? It's
no,
okay.
it's not a fiend or undead.
Yeah.
I did something on my map.
Yeah, it's okay. Do you want me to delete it?
Yeah,
That's okay.
sorry.
Alright, so
It's so tiny floating around.
Yeah.
and now roll it again because you crit. So you can roll the same divine smite again without expending an extra spell slot because you crit, because we're doubling the damage.
Okay. On the same level, right?
Yes, on the same level, yeah. Because you're
Uh,
not casting
Kevin,
it again, you're just doing
question?
double damage.
Are you using that rule for smites as well? And spells?
No, it's just the weapon die, I think.
Okay.
because like the smite is already a choice that you make after.
Okay.
Doesn't need any more buffing.
Yeah. Okay.
But in this case, it's 21 plus 15.
What do you
makes-
mean?
For 36, makes 41, makes 47 points of damage with one attack.
Yeah.
So as Core
Classic
swings
Core.
into action, Turnok is kind of still frightened. He's getting ready, and you just swing up the vicious maul, and you bury it in the belly of this creature. But like you have the spiky point on it, right? So you just pull it through, basically, aided strangely by the strange etherealness of this creature as you rip through its body, and you just essentially serrate it. Like you open it up front to back, and this entire like pool of viscera, of organs, and of other loose things that are supposed to be kept in by the skin just fall down on you guys before the whole corpse crashes down on top of Core, Tani, and Turnok. So pretty soon you guys are just kind of wrapped up as, you know, in its death throes, the spider kind of, its legs move into place, you know, like they roll up.
Ah,
So
yeah.
it tries to roll up around you guys. But in the last moment, the actual outer shell of the spider begins to phase and whoop, disappears. So you're not actually climbing out from under it. You're just covered in the goo and the viscera that you have.
But the body disappeared.
Yeah, the body itself, it seems like in its last moments, it still managed to move away from whatever, into whatever plane it tends to go.
I wish its internal organs went with it.
Yeah, no, those are definitely layered on top of there. So,
I'll just yell at it when I was hitting it, like, that'll teach you to try to bite me, you foul thing.
okay. All right. Wait, you yell? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I yell. Goodbye.
Interesting.
Stuff. I got carried away.
Oh no.
Yeah, probably as part of the smite as well. It's just like this roaring rage prayer to Tyr. Just, and there's a silver flash. It all comes down, and then in the aftermath, you guys are just standing there, and you hear. You can almost imagine the sound bouncing off the walls and carrying even outside to the guards that are waiting.
I immediately regret it, but like,
Yeah.
oh well, too
You-
late.
Like all of you covered, you just look at each other like,
Oh shit.
So, for unknown reasons, let's remain in combat order, and
Unknown reasons.
I'm gonna ask Barnak, what would you like to? Oh, sorry, no, Turnok. What would Turnok like to do? Sorry, Core. Would you like to move anywhere? By the way.
I'll just step away from the goo. Pretty
Okay.
much.
That makes sense. All right. So yeah, Turnok. What does Turnok want to do here, Mr. Jean-Jacques?
Turnok probably just gives, and I feel like I'm channeling my inner Bruno here, gives Core the dirtiest look known to dragonkind. Just like, why, bro? Why? But he'll probably try to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just make his way into the room
Okay.
with the other two to provide some extra support, and this is a larger area where I think he would determine the possibility of more enemies coming,
Mm-hmm.
and will just kind of, put his sword in a samurai stance and wait for something to get in range and slice it up.
Right. Okay. So Turnok readies an attack as well, essentially. And Jean-Jacques, how about yourself?
Jean-Jacques just kind of sighs, and he will try to move here, but I guess bumps into Barnak along the way,
Yeah.
trips over off the table, and then comes back on the other side if I can make all of that happen.
Sure.
And then
there is
readies a firebolt.
Okay, ready to fire.
Or I'll just stand here. That's maybe, yeah, I'll just kind of brush myself off and just ready a firebolt and keep my eyes trained probably on the ceiling most of all.
Okay. So, maybe Turnock and Barnack and Jean-Jacques, you guys kind of form a trio, looking each in a different direction, trying to keep ready for anything that might drop out of the sky or whatever. But Jean-Jacques and Barnack, to your dismay, you hear coming from behind you the clickering and clattering of a couple of feet skittering down the side of the wall, the web kind of moving a little bit, and it attacks before you actually have a chance to react. And of course, your readied actions will take place immediately after this, but it was stealthed, so it does get to take its attack with advantage. In this case, it will swap its attack to Jean-Jacques, as it had no chance to actually spot Barnack beyond the slight movement on the webs.
Oh no.
Yeah, it comes just rushing down the side of the wall, and you just have a brief moment to look over your shoulder before you see these huge mandibles try to strike at you, and essentially devour you whole. Oh my god.
Is it me or is it bigger? Is it larger? I feel like it's bigger.
The same.
Oh, okay.
It is extremely large, regardless of larger or smaller. And as it strikes down, Jean-Jacques, just at the last moment, you're able to, in some fashion, maybe literally as armor, utilize your new Archmage's vestments to avoid this horrifying strike that's coming at you. And the spider just kind of skitters back up the wall a little bit. Like, it remains within attack range, but it just kind of skitters back a bit, trying to look around, and you see many eyes just kind of glistening as it tries to take in the situation. Barnack.
So my attack
now
goes
all
off?
the attacks happen, yes. So aside from Turnock, who cannot attack at range.
Yeah. So I'll roll a disadvantage because it's within melee range.
It is within.
And I'll roll normal because it's disadvantage, but also advantage from stealth.
Correct.
So I rolled a 18.
Nice. That will hit.
And that's with a 7. God bless my new items. It's a total of 10 points of fire damage.
Oof. That's a big one. Alright, so 10 points of fire damage is basically you avoid the strike on your flesh and immediately turn around and just instinctively almost this bolt of fire bursts from your hand and strikes. Barnack, you roll a 1?
Yep.
Okay. That is unfortunate. But basically, as it attacks, I think what I imagine is actually that you were probably, even though you know that you're invisible, you were expecting it to come for you. Because you were there first and you were expecting danger, and then you realize that it's going for Jean-Jacques, so your strike just goes wide as you try to hit it. You fired an arrow, of course, but you try to hit it, and the arrow just kind of becomes visible suddenly and clatters against the wall. And I believe with that, your invisibility also fails as you have attacked.
Well, actually,
Does it not fail if you miss?
No. I believe that it failed before, so I don't know if that would have changed your course of action. But since I held my action, that's a concentration.
True.
That's true.
I forgot. So yeah, it actually would have failed before.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he had already reserved his action to attack, so the only thing is that he would have attacked with disadvantage.
Yeah.
And suddenly become visible. So, like, in the last moment, you just become visible, and that's probably the one, shit. And you let go, but it's not on target.
Okay.
Barnack, it does become your turn immediately. What would you like to do?
Okay. I'm going to... I'm just going to whisper a few things in Dwarvish, put Hunter's Mark on it, and try to hit it anyway from there.
Okay. With your bow still.
Yeah, I don't have the time to get anything else out. So... that's disadvantage, right?
Yes.
Okay. First one's good, but the second one is not that bad. Okay.
What's the total?
Just a moment. For me, it's I think +7. So yeah, 18.
Okay, yeah, that definitely hits.
Nice. That is 1d8 plus 1d6. 1d8 plus 6. It's 11 plus 4. 15 damage.
Wow. Okay. So, as you take a brief moment to recover, you're visible again. You look over at Jean-Jacques. He's fine. And you kind of lean back a little bit. You speak those words in Dwarvish and immediately line up another shot. And I mean, at the same time, it is a point-blank shot, right? So you just fire off into its center spot. You said, sorry, how much was the total?
15.
15. All right. And you have another attack, I believe.
Yeah, I have another attack, which
Was it
I'll...
including your hunter's mark, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why it was 15.
All right, good.
The other one is in total 13.
13 hits.
Yes. Okay.
All
Perfect. So another. This is max damage actually. 8 and
Nice.
6. That's 14 plus 4, 18.
Nice. So emboldened by your first strike, you kind of hesitate for just a moment, trying to find maybe a deadly or even deadlier place to hit the spider, and you let loose, and you actually manage to angle it in such a way that it goes almost into the same wound, and it just cuts through the spider, and you see it kind of start to thrash a little bit, and it kind of knocks over part of the furniture that's not bolted or stuck in the webbing, and it just croaks and falls over. And this one does remain, like its entire body kind of wrapped up on itself as it lies dead on the ground here. You do notice that it fell into some of the webbing, and you see the webbing just shake all around it.
I'll
geez.
turn to Jean-Jacques. Jean-Jacques, burn the webs. Burn the webs. Burn the webs. We need to run if we can. Burn the red webs. Don't burn
Okay.
us.
All right.
My food arrived in 13 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
I
Incredible.
ordered it aiming
Yeah.
for our break, and it arrived in 13 minutes.
I actually wanted to ask about that because Carlos, how are you for your food break?
Today, normal, right? I can take it.
Okay,
That's
so
all.
yeah, I mean, I was going to suggest maybe, we agree because I think you want to burn some stuff here, but this would be a good place to take our break.
Yeah, we
Go.
can take it right now.
Yeah.
Like, I have my food here already.
Perfect. All right. So,
I will, if the immediate danger is over, I just unleash,
Mhm.
and I just start shooting fireballs at all of the webs that I can see.
All right, so you start firebolting. You notice the webbing is surprisingly resistant, and like you
Resistant,
burn
yeah.
away small patches, and it starts to hang a little bit more. But there's just such a huge swath of it that it will probably take you several hours to clean just
Nah,
the
I
room.
give up. I give up after a few. Like,
Yeah.
I'm-
You can make a path for sure. Like it doesn't.
Yeah,
prevent
that
you
I'll
from
do.
that, but just cleaning the room will be more difficult. All right, so you've defeated two of these horrifying creatures that seem to be able to phase in and out of this reality, and we're gonna take our break now. Take 30 minutes. Come back at 1955 CET, and we'll pick up where we left off and see if you guys can save or find the remains of one Honourable Lady Elena Sordenbrand. Thank you so
Nice.
much, guys,
Okay.
and I'll see you guys
Can we?
soon.
Yeah.
See you soon.